Alright, let's go ahead and finish up Mole Notes Part 3. So at this point you should have completed all your practice problems on Mole Worksheet 2, numbers 1 through 4. And we're going to move on in our Mole Notes Part 3. So that's this worksheet here on the back. We are on number 3. Okay, so it says convert 18.7 grams of sodium chloride into moles. Alright, so the first thing we want to do here is probably write out what we know. And we do know that we have 18.7 grams of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride's formula is NaCl. Okay, we do want to draw a grid for this problem. And we're going to move our units down and to the right, just like we normally would. So grams of sodium chloride. And the problem is asking us to convert that into moles. So remember, whatever we want is always going to go on the top right-hand corner. So moles of sodium chloride go at the top. So now we're trying to go from grams to moles. We're going to need the molar mass of sodium chloride. So we're going to use what we know about sodium chloride. In the formula, we have 1 sodium and 1 chlorine. If we look up sodium on the periodic table, it's right here. Its mass is 22.9, which rounds to 23. Okay. And if we look up chlorine, its mass is going to round to 35. Okay, so by adding those together, we get a molar mass for sodium chloride of 58 grams per mole. And to write that a different way, 58 grams of sodium chloride is equal to 1 mole of sodium chloride. So now this is what we want to plug in to our grid here. 58 is going to go on the bottom because that refers to the grams. 1 is going to go on the top. That refers to the moles. So we're taking 18.7 dividing by 58. And if I type this in my calculator here, 18.7 divided by 58, we're going to get 0.322 moles sodium chloride. Okay, so the only additional step here that we're doing is calculating the molar mass for sodium chloride. So this is just like a lot of the problems you were doing on Mole Worksheet 1. The only step we've added is just looking up different molar masses. Okay, let's do number 4. This is going the opposite way. So we're going to have 2.09 moles of calcium chlorate. The formula for calcium chlorate is CaClO3 2. Okay, we're going to move our units down and to the right. So moles, calcium chlorate, go down here. Alright, and now we've got to figure out the molar mass for calcium chlorate because the problem is asking us for grams of calcium chlorate. So we've got to figure out how many grams are in 1 mole. Okay, so we've got calcium, chlorine, and oxygen here. I've got 1 calcium, I've got 2 chlorine, and I've got 6 oxygen. Calcium's molar mass, when we look that up, is 40. It's right here. Chlorine's molar mass, when we look that up, is going to round to 35, which gives us 70. And oxygen is 16, which gives us 96. Bringing our total to 206 grams per mole. So I can plug this in now. 206 grams for every 1 mole of calcium chlorate. We multiply those two together. 20.09 times 206 is going to give us 431 grams of calcium chlorate. Okay, now finally, we've got a question involving atoms. Okay, so number 5 says convert 4.81 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of bismuth into grams of bismuth. So we're going to take what we know, 4.81 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of bismuth. Okay, and we're going to move our units down and to the right. Okay, now this one's a little tricky because we don't have anything to go straight from atoms to grams. So that means we're going to need a third step here in this problem. We can convert atoms to moles really easily using Avogadro's number, because we remember that 1 mole is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Okay, and then once we're in moles, it's really easy for us to get to grams by using our molar mass that we've been using in these past couple of problems, because we know that if we look up on the periodic table, bismuth which is right here, has a mass of, it's right here, has a mass of 208.9, which rounds to 209. Okay, so we can plug in our first step here, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, that's equal to 1 mole. So our atoms will cancel out. Now we've got to get to grams, and you guys have done this before. You've gone from moles to grams. Now we're just adding a step at the beginning. So we're going to move moles of bismuth down the units. Okay, and the problem asks for grams of bismuth. So that's going to go in the top right hand corner. We just looked up bismuth on the periodic table. 1 mole weighs 209 grams. Now our moles of bismuth will cancel out. So we're going to take 4.81 times 10 to the 22nd times 1 times 209. Then we're going to divide that by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd times 1. Okay, so with our calculator, we'll take 4.81, exponent, button, 22 times 209, and then we're going to divide that by 6.02, exponent 23, and we should get 16.7 grams of bismuth. .7 grams of bismuth. I think I did that right. Okay, so now you have all the information you need to complete questions 5 through 8 on Mole Worksheet 2.